Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Silos in the building. We got our man Sam Singh in the building. I love this guy. I'm not even gonna go ahead and explain too much. We'll just get into it. Sam, go ahead and showcase yourself, buddy. Let everybody know who you are from starting in this industry to where you are now, and then what you're gonna be covering on today's topics. You're muted, buddy.
Boom. Hey, everybody. So I'm gonna go gallery because I like actually seeing everybody. My name's Sam. That's a little bit about me. I'm just kidding. So I am, I think, a relatively young name in the industry. I'm coming up on 2 years in the industry later on this year. It has been a fantastic, fantastic time. I basically came up from nothing, kind of grew up in essentially poverty. Carlos and I have a very similar background in like the things that we had to kind of get out of the communities that we basically had to escape and to turn our, to give ourselves an amazing run at life. And so I've been in the industry for a little bit less than 2 years now. I got into real estate investing right out of grad school. So I graduated grad school. I was broke as a joke, and I just wanted to learn how to make money. So got into real estate because YouTube University said that's what will make you a millionaire. And I have been absolutely blessed to have found myself in the rooms that I'm in, the circles that I'm in, the proximities that I'm in, to have the friends that I do. Am I tripping, or do you guys see another person named Sam Singh?
No, I see that. I thought I saw your name like 2 or 3 times for a second.
Bro, I'm only on one device, and they just
four. You got 4 open right now, bro, on my end.
Who the heck?
Who got you? Who did you give your Zoom to? Your other Zoom accounts to? I see you 5 times now.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out. It's okay. Yeah, that's interesting. But just kind of back to the story real quick. Yeah, I've been in the industry for a little bit less than 2 years. We do lots and lots of real estate frontline acquisition. So we're doing tons of wholesale. We're doing tons of buy and hold. We've got an amazing specialty into things like creative finance. And I basically was able to make a name for myself kind of quickly as the guy who scaled really fast. And that is awesome and it's fun. And I think kind of the headline there is I was basically the guy that came in my 4th month of real estate. We hit our first 6-figure month, and we've just been scaling ever since then. And make no bones about it, the only reason I've been able to do, oh, that is so weird. Your IG link is defaulting as your name. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Well, whatever. We'll figure it out. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so we've just been scaling ever since. We run multiple businesses, and the only reason I'm able to do half the things that I do is because I've got some of the best friends in the industry, some of the best collaborators there are, guys like Carlos, guys like Dustin Reyna, who's here, is one of my best friends on earth. He's a phenomenal human being and collaborator, and just putting myself in those proximities are how we not only learn how to do the business at a high level, but it's also how we do what we're going to talk a lot about today, and that's finding the real secret sauce behind actually how to do this business. Because I think a lot of this industry is Sam Singh, who is me, in the chat. I mean, it's so weird talking to myself in the chat right now. Sam in the chat. That is a totally different masterclass. It's a totally different masterclass. And I don't want to, that would be a very long one, but I do that one a lot actually. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is this mission that I feel like Dustin and myself and Carlos are on, I think, as a young contingent of new up-and-comers in this industry, and that is to honestly eliminate guru culture. I think we all agree that too many people get into this industry and they are told to spend money 25 different ways, and all the ways that they're told to spend money result in one thing, and that is them going absolutely freaking broke. And so for me, when I graduated grad school, I had no money. I was already in debt. I had to learn how to do this. And I'm smart enough as a student to know that I need to continue to be a student. Great. I get myself into some mentorships and some communities, and I have my favorite influencer that I listen to. And this person at the time did this really amazing challenge. And this challenge was all about how you can go basically from doing 0 deals to tons of deals, in a very short amount of time. And I went in and I bought all the things they told me to buy. I went out and pulled the 10 to 15,000 record list. I went and got 2 full-time callers, and I was not ready for that. I was not ready to be an employer. I was not ready to train people on sales. I had no freaking clue what I was doing. I was buying the $150 dialer system, spending $50 a month on just phone numbers, all of these things, and hoping for the best. Well, here's the problem. Everyone in this industry is taught to do that. And because I didn't know what I don't know, I probably went $7,000 further into debt than I already was. And I had 0 results to show for it. And I found myself in a really kind of interesting position. And that was having burnt a lot of money in an extremely short amount of time. I don't know about you guys, but when you first get into entrepreneurship or business, and the very first time ever in your life that you go and spend $7 grand in 60 days, that's scary as hell. That is terrifying. And if you're like me and you grew up in the ghetto and you don't have money, to spend money that you already don't have makes it 10 times scarier, right? So I basically went further in the debt and I had to dig myself out. And how did I do that? I realized that, hey, I'm pretty decent on the phones. I like closing people. I like the fine nuances of high-level closing. So I JV'd and I squatted up, and I did a lot of that just to get out of the hole that I was in. So my first bunch of deals, they were all JV. I got myself out of debt. I had a marketing budget, ready to go. And then it was time to come back and do this the right way. The problem is I didn't know the right way because no one taught me. And the only thing that people taught me put me in a very compromised position. So I had like scar tissue of doing it the way that people were telling me to do it. And I understood it, right? Influencers push affiliates. It's the way it is. It's natural, and that's okay. But unless you know what you're getting yourself into, and unless you know exactly when the return's going to be, oh, that's so cool. One of the Sam Singhs is literally Derek Barton. Yeah, dude, I am so sorry. I think I screwed up by giving out the wrong link, dude. My bad, Carlos. Derek, good to see you, brother. So lo and behold, I'm getting out of debt. I'm ready to go and crush this, but I have some scar tissue. I'm hesitant to go pull another 15,000 record list to go hire 2 more full-time cold callers and to take that plunge. And it's because no one gave me the guarantee of doing it right. And then so I do what I do. I go and network, and I get into proximity, and then I meet one of my mentors who is an outstanding operator in Utah. It's one of the biggest names in the state of Utah. This dude consistently hits 6-figure months. And I just go to him and I'm like trying to be a sponge and get all the knowledge that I can. And he asked me all these things like, Sam, where are you getting your data? How much data are you getting? What do your callers look like? What are you spending on this, that, the whole 9, right? Doing a diagnosis of my business. And I told him everything. And all the stuff was all the things that I was told to do, that we're all told to do. I was getting data from one of the 2 biggest data providers. We all know them. I'm not going to name them because I don't want them to sue me, but we all know who they are. And he did the diagnosis, and like a doctor, I remember he sat there and he just thought for a second, and he's like, "You're doing it wrong." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "All of that, everything you just said is wrong." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "Sam, I make a lot of money." He told me at the time he made about 100, like the month prior, he made like 120 grand in 30 days. And I'm like, dude, you have to have 15 VAs and you have to be pulling 50,000 records a month and you have to be doing all of this stuff. And he's like, Sam, I'm spending about half the money that you are. I'm like, what? How are you doing that? He's like, because you're asking the wrong questions. And this question changed my life in terms of how I view any business. And he said, Sam, where is your competitive advantage if you're pulling the same list from the same place as 100,000 other wholesalers? And that was a paradigm shift for me. It was a massive paradigm shift because do I have one? And I said, and I try to like save face and I'm saying, hey, of course I've got a competitive advantage. I'm great on the phones. And he's like, okay, but there's 100,000 of them. No matter how good you are, you can't beat that volume. I'm like, well, I know creative finance. And he's like, so do they. And I'm like, well, I can dedicate a lot of time. And he's like, well, they got budgets that make yours look like pennies. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? What's going on here? And I was like, all my paradigms were being shifted and they were being challenged, and that hurt. And he said, Sam, you're going up against people who've been in the industry 10 times longer than you, have budgets 10 times bigger than yours and have teams. They don't even have teams. And I remember he said this, you have a cold caller, they have call centers. And then this, as a man, was tough for me to take in because I was prideful and egotistical. He said, Sam, congratulations. You're fighting for scraps right now. And all you're going to get are those guys' leftovers. And I don't know about, I'm not going to speak for the ladies here, but I know for most of us guys, being told that by another man, that's rough. It hurts. It challenges, right? And then so I was like, okay, you know what? Enough with the BS. Where the hell do I go? What do I do? What goes on, right? What does your apparatus look like? He said, Sam, I'm spending half the money that you are, and I'm not pulling near the amount of data that you are. My team is actually very, very, very small. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, you're smart. And I'm sure everyone here knows most of this. We're going to talk about this a lot. He said, Sam, it's the best list out there. And the one that immediately comes to my mind is foreclosures, because I love foreclosures, right? They're so fantastic. So great, foreclosures, where do they come from? It's the county. It's like, there's your answer. Like, what do you mean? He's like, and I told him, I'm like, what do you mean? I do foreclosures. I get them all the time. I'm getting them from one of the two big providers that someone may have mentioned in the chat. And he's like, yeah, the problem is by the time you get them, how many of them have already sold or lost their homes? And I'm like, 95% of them. He's like, exactly. And the ones that are left aren't going to sell because they've already figured it out. And he's like, congrats, you're still fighting for scraps. So I had this ridiculous challenge of everything that I was taught to believe. And in this industry, what happens is so many of us get into this industry and we're taught what? Go pull a list, go get some VAs, market to it, and follow up. Now, the big problem is this. Nobody, and I mean nobody when they get started, question what list truly, why that list, and most importantly, nobody questions this. Why are you telling me one of those two big names and nowhere else? And a big paradigm shift for us all to ask in critical thinking is, where the hell do they get those lists? For everyone here, in any business that you look at, in every, whether it's lists or callers, call centers, ads, everything there is, I want you to ask a critical question. And that is, where do you get your stuff? And it's not bad for people to go and white label other things or do this out of the other. There's nothing wrong with it. But as business owners, we need to understand when white labeling happens, prices go up. And when prices go up, our budgets bleed. And when they bleed, they can't be sustained. So today's talk is going to be very heavily, I think we're going to be done story time for now because we want to get to more actionable value. We're going to talk about some magic stuff because people always want to know, is there a magic list? The answer is no. There's no one silver bullet list, but there are 6 that are absolutely better than all the others in the aggregate. It is proven statistically, time and time again, they will consistently work. And we're going to talk about the 6 core lists. They're the only ones that you guys should be targeting. And we're going to talk about why those lists, where they come from, how you can get them on your own, and some shortcuts you can take. And then most importantly, this is the most important thing. No one talks about this industry. It talks about this in this industry. And Lonnie, code violations is not one of the core 6. Code violations are great, but they are not. And there's a very critical reason why. But we're going to talk about optimization of marketing. Is there anyone in here who has aspirations past real estate? I'm assuming a lot of you guys are going to do real estate and then you're going to go crush 52 other businesses and you're going to be a freaking billionaire and you're going to be on billboards and everything else.
You named it.
Boom. Well, the reality is this, guys. I want you guys to learn a lesson here. And that lesson is marketing optimization, because that will go with you in every other business you do. And if you want to scale, which we all do, if you want to scale, you have to be able to optimize what you've already got going on. Because when you have a rocky foundation that is full of leaks, what happens when you scale that? You're scaling your inefficiency. You're scaling your burn. You're scaling being a crappy business owner. So that being said, let's get into some data stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually gonna have to share my screen because I realize people are very visual.
You gotta see it to believe it.
Let's go install this, hit that, boom there. No way. Okay, do you guys see a black screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I am very anti-whiteboard. I think whiteboards are the greatest thing ever, but I have a blackboard. So we're gonna actually blackboard things out today.
Oh, that's gang life. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like-
use whiteboards in TTP and in the Thrive community. I'm like, oh shit, we got blackboards. Did not know.
Dude, it's so much better. Like all my like whiteboards in my house, even my physical ones, they're all made of glass and they're all black. And it just looks
Oh,
so
that's
good.
all
It
my
looks-
Excel sheets are black instead of just the white ones. I just like it doing this.
All right, let's get into this. Guys, so I'm gonna keep this very action-based. I'm gonna keep this very like value-based, right? I want everyone to be able to take this and learn something. And let's cut through some of the bullshit in this industry. And my goal for this, guys, truthfully, Dustin knows this. My goal in the next 2 years is to see how many gurus I can put out of business by just giving away all the game. That's going to be the fun part. That's what I want to do. But let's talk about it. In this industry, you're going to be sold a lot of things. You're going to be sold all these magical sets of data. You're going to be sold all these magical sets of lists. None of them matter. In the long run, in the aggregate, none of them matter. The only ones that matter are the ones that you can consistently prove time and time and time again. And what really matters here is what we call an external motivating factor that will force the sale of a property. You guys have seen it. There's some guru influencers and there's some of my friends, and I give them a lot of crap about it, who keep talking about stupid lists like water shutoff or uncut grass citations. That's my favorite gimmick list out there. Because a lot of times they'll go and show a $30,000 assignment fee and they'll say, this came from my magical uncut grass citation, which is just a code violation list, right? What they fail to mention is that it was actually stacked and it was prominent on one of the main 6 lists that we need to target and we need to focus on. All you have to do is focus on these 6, nothing else. And I swear to you, you will actually get consistent, predictable results. We're going to label them out. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one, why they matter. And I'm going to tell you guys why these specifically, like all of them together, there's a trend with all of them. So numbers 1 and 2, and this is not putting them in any fancy order, I'm just listing them out, are pre-foreclosure. And guys, please, if you don't know this stuff already, write this down without a shadow of a doubt. Pre-foreclosure and foreclosure. So just a quick 10-second spiel on it. Pre-foreclosure, simple. Someone gets a notice of default, an NOD, after 90 consecutive days of missed payments. Usually the lender, the servicer says, hey, you've 90 days passed. You are officially within default. Here's us notifying you. Congrats, you're in pre-foreclosure. There we go. Good, got the recording on. Foreclosures specifically are even past that. They're past the notice of default. The seller, the homeowner, has received a notice of foreclosure sale. The notice of foreclosure sale basically says, hey, we're past negotiations. We're past warnings. You owe us a ton of money. And if you don't pay up right now, we will basically give you an auction date at any time. And once that auction date comes up, you will be forcefully escorted out of your property if you don't comply by a sheriff's constable, right, which is a deputy. And then your property will be auctioned off so we can recoup some of the money that you owe us. Cool? Everyone good with me on that? And if you guys ever have questions, like please just unmute and just chime in because I want to make sure that we keep everyone with us. Okay. Well, by the way, if you guys didn't know, these two are the absolute holy grail for sub-2 deals. So if you want to build a portfolio with creative finance, these two right here are the gold mine. You don't have to do anything else besides these two. And you can build millions and millions and millions of dollars in a portfolio through creative finance, through subject to, just with these two lists, because these people are all defaulting on loans. You catch them up, maybe give them a little bit of money and take over the loan that's basically in default. Okay. Number 3 and number 4, very similar to 1 and 2, are pre-probate and probate. So funny. When I first got into this industry, it took me about 6 months to even learn what the hell probate was. Everyone kept saying it, and I had no idea what it was. I finally learned it, and I'm like, okay, cool, now it makes sense. So probate is simple. When grandma or great grandpa dies, their property, their assets that they own have to go through a legal proceeding called probate to basically settle affairs and things that they owe. Very often after the probate is done, there is, in different states are going to call them different things, an administrator of the estate, an executor of the estate. Actually, it's called an executor. It's kind of fancy. Personal representatives, I believe they're called in Florida. This person basically has to deal with what's going to happen with this property. And more often than not, they sell the property. There's a very clear reason why. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Even if the property has no mortgage on it, no liens on it, none of that stuff, guess what? You're still going to have to pay insurance. You're still going to have to pay some level of property taxes. There is nothing ever truly free and clear when it comes to real estate. There's always some bit of bleeding. And when grandma just died and I get a property that I can't financially afford, this is always what happens in probates. Grandma dies. I have to go through a period of grieving, 2-3 months, right? And during those 2-3 months, the court is handling the probate. Meanwhile, like finances are being accrued, right? Like liabilities are being accrued, utilities, maybe there is a loan on the property. There's all these other things that are stacking up. By the time the property gets to me and I'm named the administrator or the executor or the personal rep, what happens? I'm now financially responsible for some of those costs, and I can't handle that. And this is what happens almost every single time to someone who's gone through probate. Once they get the property, they are ridden with guilt at needing to sell the property. Grandma lived here for the last 30 years, right? This is maybe the childhood home that I grew up in. But now there's emotion and pain and torment because grandma passed. Grandma passed, she's gone, and I still have this property and it's costing me money. And I can't afford it, but I don't want to sell it because that I don't want to disrespect her. You get into this real whirlwind of emotions when it comes to probates, but here's the actual truth with probates. And this is very, very important to know. 75% will sell. 75% of properties that have filed probate will sell in 90 days. This is a proven statistic time and time and time again. Probates next to foreclosures have the highest likelihood of the properties changing hands. Foreclosures, because they're going to go to auction. They're going to get repossessed. They're going to get sold off at auction to someone else or whatever happens, right? And then with probates, 75% sell within 90 days after filing probate. And there's a reason why. When people go into a courthouse and file probate, they are no longer thinking from an emotional standpoint. They are thinking from a mathematical standpoint. They're usually past the point of grieving heavily, and they now need to settle the affair and settle the liability. They are looking for a solution. They're looking for an out. And then those 90 days is where it almost always happens, whether it's with the realtor or it's off market. There's a lot that happens. There's a massive time window there. There's a critical time window here. There's also a critical time window in these properties too. These usually have like 15 days, 30 days, 60 days for an auction. Number 5, the more deals you guys do, the more you'll realize that these are actually gold mines if you know how to navigate them. Evictions. Find me. We always talk about, you know, the age-old list of tired landlords. Find me someone who's a more tired landlord than someone who had to evict somebody. Evictions are a phenomenal list type because there's a lot of aggravation, and most of these people who are going to sell because of an eviction usually aren't rock star investors like Carlos. No, they're not. They are actually mom and pop shops. They only have a few properties, right? And to them, this is just investing is maybe like a passive hobby. Maybe it's something they're trying to do just to leave a few properties to their kids. And then once they have that one crap tenant who destroys everything, and you have to get the cops involved because they threaten to kick your ass or whatever the hell happens, that scar tissue they're not going to want to rent it again. They just want out. Evictions are tired landlords on steroids, and they're a phenomenal list. Number 6 of the core list, and this is the 6th one that I want to talk about. These are your most important list types, period. There's actually a legitimate reason why, but this one is the fun one. It's divorce. Put it to you guys this way. I just sold one of my favorite deals ever that I've ever had. Sold it to one of my good friends and mentors, Mr. Pace Morby, and it was a phenomenal subject to deal. And the reason why is because there was a divorce happening. This is in Vegas, which for those of you guys that didn't know, I'm going to be a little bit candid here when I say this. If you guys didn't know, Las Vegas is the divorce capital of America. And I mean, like, who would have thought? It's like the land of strippers and casinos and people gambling their lives away. There's like a lot of issues that happen in Vegas, and there's a lot of divorce. It's actually tried and true. And this deal that we sold, we got a hold of the seller. Seller was so pissed off, wanted to sell so bad. And the reason why, once we're digging up the pain and we're finding the bunnies, we're trying to figure out what's going on in her motivation, it is because she caught her husband cheating on her with her best friend.
Oh, all right.
All right. A lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of problems there. There's a lot of pain. I'll fast forward to you guys. I actually haven't told anyone this, but this actually happened in escrow. She called me during escrow. She was pissed. And I'm like, oh crap, what happened? Right? Did a wholesaler, like, she first thing she says, are we going to close on time? And if all the closers here know this, if you get that call in the middle of escrow, your first thought is, did someone scorch earth? Did some wholesaler contact them and say that we're not gonna perform, or we're wholesaling, or whatever it is? And I'm like, why? What's going on? And then she's like, because they still live in the same property. She's at work. She gets the Ring doorbell notification. This is after she caught him cheating. They're in escrow to sell. Everything is going to crap. Ring doorbell. The best friend is coming over to her house while she's at work. And then she's like, if we don't close on time, I will murder him. And I'm like, okay, we're going to close on time. It's going to happen. Not a problem. Fast forward like 2 weeks later, she calls me again. I haven't told anyone this, but this just proves the point of divorce, especially in Las Vegas. She found out he was also cheating on her with a dancer. I'll just say dancer. That's probably the more appropriate term. So divorces are messy. They're emotional. There's sometimes hatred involved in them. If your sales skills are on point, divorces are some of the best lists to target. And the reason is these people typically want out of each other more than they even care about what happens to the property. Yep. Very often when we talk to sellers, their property is the most important thing in their life, right? When you go to someone who's in divorce and they're at each other's throats, they just want out. They really don't care. Like, the price they get is secondary to just getting out of the unfortunate situation that they're in. So has anyone been able to identify the commonality between all 6 of these and why they're the best? There's one critical reason.
All county courthouse.
Boom. The answer right there specifically that we're looking for is it's courthouse data. Motivation is exponential when the legal system gets involved, whether it's criminal, civil, small claims, or family court. When the courts get involved, there is a tremendously higher likelihood of the property selling. There are usually, David, great question, time pressure. Absolutely. There's a ton of time pressure when it comes down to courts. Why? These ones, boom, boom, time, proven time. Eviction, they're trying to get the person out. And then what ends up happening when they get the person out? They have to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the property again. And they have to make a decision on, am I going to rent this out again and find someone and take this risk again? Or am I just going to sell it and get rid of it? So there's actually time there. And then with divorces, judges may actually come in and decide one party has the right to sell without the other party's consent based on what's happening. And if both of them live together and they hate each other, oh, trust me, it is a ticking time bomb if they don't sell the property. So courthouse data is by far the best, by far. If you guys want it, so what I actually call these, we call them 6 core lists, and we also call them primary list types. If you guys want to stack more, The only other ones that I highly recommend, we call them secondary lists, are federal tax liens, state tax liens, tax deed sales, and code violations. There's really only about 8 to 9 list types that actually matter. And then if one of those, if any list you pull, if its core foundation is one of these 6, that's the best thing you can do.
You'll say the other list one more time for me.
What was that? I'm so sorry.
You'll repeat the last few that you said. Was it tax?
Oh, I
And
got you.
another-
So it's going to be federal tax liens. So it's when you owe the IRS money, they put a lien on your house because they're pissed off. State tax liens. I live in this fancy place called California, and California likes its taxes. And if we don't pay, they will like absolutely kill us. So federal tax liens, state tax liens, tax deed sales. This is almost like an auction. There's a very nuanced process to it, but it also comes a lot of times from auction sites, tax deed sales, and code violations. I put code violations at the last because there's some code violations that are fantastically motivated, and there's some code violations that are kind of a waste of time. The reality is code violations, it's a generic term that can be applied to a lot of different circumstances.
Is that basically like HOA code violations from like townhouses, that sort of thing?
I'm so sorry, you were just breaking up there. At least on my end. Could you repeat that?
I was wondering if that's like HOA code violations, how you find out about those, like when people haven't paid their HOA dues in townhouses.
Code violations are typically going to come from the city or from an actual municipality. And then because what ends up happening with code violations is they'll also be recorded. Here's another thing, guys. All of these 6 list types, and actually all 8 that I mentioned, guess what? They all become public record, thanks to the federal government and the Freedom of Information Act. And when things become public record, right, there's this natural proven thing in psychology, is that our distress with something amplifies when it becomes public. If we have a private problem and it's swept under the rug and a family has a secret, that's one thing. But the second that it hits the courthouse and now there's 50,000 wholesalers who, are trying to get a hold of that data from one of the 2 big data sources super late, then it amplifies because now you feel exposed. Now you feel vulnerable. So public record is the key here. You want to take it one step further. We want to prioritize courthouse. So you look at tax deed sales. They're not always going to be courthouse oriented. We look at code violations. They may not always have a court involved. The courts are more amplified, especially when a judge gets involved, especially when a judge who is an arbiter of justice comes in and handles these situations and they step in, people start wanting to get out of the situation as soon as possible. So any other questions on those?
Sam, question if I may.
Mhm.
So how do you get these lists? Because every county is going to be different. Some are online and tech savvy. Others are very archaic where you got to go to the courthouse. And then, for example, in my county, getting a stack of probate is maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's a nightmare to go through all those files. So
no, you're absolutely not overthinking it. You're not overthinking it. And here's the thing, you're actually right. So we're actually gonna get into that, and that's the next phase here that I want to talk about. See this next Samsung, I know it's Jordan, because I see his icon. Jordan, good to see you, bro. But yeah, there's a lot of, I gave the wrong link, so everyone who comes from my Instagram is actually my clone today. So you're welcome. You're welcome. You leveled up today, bro. Okay, great question, and we're gonna talk about that right now, because here's what matters. You guys all now, I hope, understand that these are the most important lists. So I never want to see anybody out of the 51 other people on the Zoom, I never want to see anyone go by a crap list. I don't care what your favorite influencer said. I don't care if it's uncut grass or a water shutoff or any of that stuff. Don't go by those lists because they're an absolute gimmick. Stick to what works and scale that. Okay. Let's get into this now. This is actually a really important part. And I care about this. And this is what my mentor in Utah taught me. Not just about not just the data, right? Because guess what? You can actually go pull these lists from some of the biggest data providers. Here's the thing. If you don't understand that pulling it where you get the data actually matters more potentially than the data itself. So here's why. I'm going to draw this amazing artistic house, right? Beautiful. This is the county, okay? All the best data, it goes live at the county, let's just say Monday, January 1st, okay? January 1st is when all this data goes live right here. There is this amazing human being. This is vendor 1. This guy is doing God's honest work, and he's at the county addressing all the problems that you just mentioned. The counties, all their websites are different. Most of them probably don't even have functioning websites. People think you can train a bot to scrape it. For the ones that have a functioning website that is not about 30, 40 years old, yeah, maybe, but they usually break down more often than not. You have a lot of counties where they actually require you to send a runner every single day to fill out a form and request the data. This guy is doing all that work. Those 2 big data providers that we talked about, do you guys honestly think that they're getting this data directly from the source? No. It is logistically not impossible, but is logistically extremely difficult for them to do that when the alternative is for them to go and buy what we call white labeled data. So are they buying it from vendor 1 who's at the source? No. Vendor 1, he doesn't sell this stuff to you guys. He sells it to this guy, and that's vendor 2. And then he does that to vendor 3, vendor 4. And with those 2 big data providers, depending on the county, depending on the list type, there may be 4 up to 6 or 7 intermediary vendors re-white labeling the data, right? So all this is going to go on. I'm going to just bring this over here. Then you've got the big guys, right? The ones that we're all taught to buy data from. These big guys, there's 2 main ones. That data is not fresh anymore. And then what do? Here's you when you're trying to just figure out what you're doing with your life, and they will sell this to you and they will make good money on you right here. It's not that bad of a business model. It's actually a fantastic business model for them. It is a losing business model for you, for pretty much anyone who's brand new, because we are now, again, like my mentor taught me, where is your competitive advantage when you buy the same list from the same place as 100,000 other people? And that's not actually the biggest problem with this model. You guys want to know what the biggest problem is? I want someone to guess. There's actually something worse than that. And it actually has to do with these. Boom. Charlotte is an epic human being. This entire movement of data does not happen overnight. It does not happen over the course of a week. Depending on the county, depending on what it takes to get the data, this data, now we're finding easily can be up to 6 months old. How many of you guys have called lists, leads have been generated, or your cold caller who's doing the hard work on the front line? Dude, Jordan, I will amp up my handwriting because you said I'm going to make it pristine now. How many of you guys have had your cold callers calling and they keep responding that, hey, every time we talk to a person or every other person we talk to, they've already sold, or we're the 75th wholesaler to talk to them that week? You don't have a chance. You are now fighting for scraps. And guess what? Some of the biggest names in the game, we have guys like Jordan Johns here. Jordan Johns has just evolved and he's gotten into some really amazing rooms. And he's already starting to see pattern recognition and understanding that some of the biggest, best players in the industry, they're not getting data here. They're going directly to the source. Now, guess what? Those guys, they're the big dogs who eat. They eat 90% of the pie the second that it comes out. By the time this data goes from here to here to here to here to here, and then to you, you are basically fighting with 100,000 other people for crumbs. That is the reality of this industry. And it's unfortunate, but it's absolutely true. So Dustin, Carlos, and myself are very adamant about cutting through the BS. We want everyone to spend less money, get better results, and be able to actually get predictability in their business. When you go directly to the source, you're not pulling fluff. When you go directly to the source, are you going to pull, just so you guys know, in medium-sized county that has about 500,000 people, right? It only produces about 15 to 20 foreclosures a week. It's not a massive data set, but guess what? Most of those people are going to have an auction date in the next 60 days. Most of those people will have to make a decision. They will have to sell or they will lose their property. When you go directly to the county, you don't have to deal with bullshit. All you get to do is go after the highest quality, highest motivation, highest distress without having to filter through a bunch of crap. This is the best part about going directly to the county. Now, here's the reality. So when I talk to that mentor, I'm like, hey, bro, how do you do that? Because I asked the same question that was just asked, which is, hey, those counties, the websites are horrible. It's so hard to get the data. It's difficult to aggregate. You can't scale that. And I said the same thing. My mentor told me, he's like, yeah, dude, I have a team. I have a team of people who do it for me. And Jonathan, so good. You're in Cali. I'm in Cali. I think we're two. You live like 20 minutes away from me or something. California. Guys, this is not political, so don't kill me for this. The blue states are very anti-releasing public record. So if your market happens to be in a blue state, oh, dude, yeah, exactly. You're right near me. If you're in a blue state, if you're in a county or an area or in a market, right, that is not the most forthcoming, good luck getting this data. Los Angeles County, which is the largest county in the entire country, has over 10 million people. Could you imagine the amount of foreclosure opportunity there is in Los Angeles County? It's obscene. But due to politics, LA County has vetoed federal law, and they are currently in a lawsuit with the federal government because they don't want to release public record, and they are defying the Freedom of Information Act. So it's insane. So the aggregation of data, right, especially to scale, the only way to do it is for you to build out a team. And if you want to go into another market and get more foreclosures, more code violations, more of all these things, you're going to have to linearly scale your team. You can do it. You can do it. And you'll get much better results doing it. Absolutely astronomically better results doing it. But you have to ask yourself a very critical question. Is a lot of you guys are still establishing your sales team, right? I'm sure you guys know this. In real estate acquisitions, whether you're doing wholesale, fix and flip, whatever, if you're on the front lines marketing to sellers, you are going to have at least two teams. You're going to have a sales team on the front end doing all of your acquisitions. These are your follow-up specialists, your lead managers, your closers, your sales director. So you have your sales team, and then you've got, once you hit a certain amount of scale and do enough contracts, you're going to have a dispo team. If you want to be the most optimum and you want to go get that data directly from the county, guess what? You're also going to have a data team. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. So when I learned all this, I'm like, okay, crap, I'm going to go build this out and we're going to go do it. We're going to go and just have a team doing it. That being said, all of us, because I don't want this to end up being a pitch or anything like that, I want to prove to you guys why this matters, show you the rationale behind all of it. And then if you want, you can go and actually get the data from exactly where we get it. And this is a very critical question for you all to ask yourself. And that is, do I want to take the time to start a data team? Or do I want to hit the easy button and then get it from a source that's actually getting it? So whatever you do, either you are this guy right here who goes directly to the county because now you know better. You have no reason not to. You have no excuse not to unless you want to burn your money. Or then two, go directly to this guy as long as he's getting it absolutely fresh. So lo and behold, I get my data from the guy who gets it absolutely fresh. So does Carlos. So does Dustin. So does Jordan Johns, who's here right now, who's absolutely freaking scaling. So do a lot of the best in the game. So if you want that, if you want to go and get that hookup, I believe Carlos has a link because Carlos is amazing. Just so you guys know, if you guys didn't know this, Carlos goes to bat for the community so much. Like he literally will go to the best providers in the industry and then negotiate on behalf of the community. He doesn't go and then say, hey, how can I just make a ton of affiliate money? He goes and vets the product, which I freaking love. Freaking love. He goes and vets the product, tries it, gets results with it, and then makes those companies come up with special stuff for his community because he's putting his community first. So I have to give you love for that because not enough people are doing it in the industry. And this
Thank
is
you,
like dude, I think the more that you do that, the more that you and Dustin are going to absolutely, honestly, you guys are going to dismiss gurus out of this industry doing that. So if you guys want that, I believe Carlos has a link for you guys. And a discount code. I want that.
Yeah, so I was able to negotiate with the company at their data syndicate. So anybody who's a Powerhouse member in here today, click on that link, your first order, your first month, basically you guys will get 20% off. Congratulations. Yeah, the data's fire. Like, to go back to it, I like results. That's why a lot of you guys know me and how transparent, how cutthroat I am. It's because I want the result. I don't really care for, it's cool to get credibility, but if I really want a result at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, all of us got to spend marketing dollars. We just spend it where everybody else goes, right? It's like a lot of people will buy the same beer, and then people who have a lot better taste buds get the craft beer, but not everybody understands what the hell craft beer is, right? Some of you alcoholics out there, since I'm not drinking anymore, right? Well, yeah, that's just the way it works, right? So you guys use comping tools, right? At some point you could use Zillow. I love using Zillow, but I still pay for other ones, right? CRMs, dialing tools. So we're not here trying to sell you guys anything. At the same time, yeah, we do have a product and service that could work for you guys. It's about weighing out your options. We just tried them out. We just put our first deal in escrow like 3 weeks later, which was last week. And now it's listed for innovation. We have a whole bunch of them in the pipeline, lots of counters. With the foreclosures, this is what I've learned is they're desperate, but they're also depressed, right? They're all very embarrassed. So a lot of the times when you're calling them, it's more like, hey, how can I help you out? Like, it's more about, gauging the conversation, not really bringing up foreclosures. Eventually they might just bring it up, but it's the follow-up process. Eventually they're going to respond to the one who keeps reaching out, try to help them out. And they're normally going to do that at the last day or two because they're really down and out. Imagine you ever had life happen to you and you feel really bad and you're going against all the odds and you're losing. It's pretty hard to just wake up or at least want to do shit. That's where they are. These leads they're amazing. We're looking to scale it out there. So I was able to go ahead and get that company out there and get a little discount for you guys. And I hope you guys try it out.
So you got 1 in 3. So you started and you got a deal locked up in 3 weeks. That's amazing.
Well, no, we actually, our first call, we locked it up, but because I didn't have like a TC in place at the moment. And then I coached the Thrive community. This was on a Monday. It came in right away that we used, Dustin has an AI bot. So we used the AI bot on this. It notified that this was the homeowner at this address and they were open to selling it. I got on a phone call. She was already very transparent. I know how she was vulnerable. So I took control of the conversation and told her, hey, I could help you out. I've done this multiple times. This is what's going to have to happen. We put it on paper. I had like 20 minutes to get into another community that I had a coach that I already had a commitment to. Nobody else on my team could do the paperwork or know how to talk to the lenders, go to loss mitigation and stop the foreclosure and stuff like that, or postpone the auction. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't have my team set up at that moment putting this all together, I took the call. I took my already committed time and went into the Thrive community, coached them, got out, and the bank was closed. And I'm in Pacific time, they're in Central time. This was Texas. And I go ahead and call them at my time, 8 a.m. So then we can stop it before 10 a.m. But it was already 10 a.m. in Texas because I forgot to schedule so it was a partially human, well, mainly human error at that point. But it would have been the first deal we would have put on pay. We would have put in escrow. First automatic deal that we got a lead that actually responded. That would have been the first one.
Dude, you know what's wild about that is that you get the best data set. So one, you're getting not a ton of data, not a ton of records, right? You don't need like a massive amount of VAs. And then so you're doing marketing to it, but Dustin's AI bot, which I'm so freaking stoked on, basically revived it, kept it alive, allowed you to be in a position where you just got to go for the kill essentially. And essentially once that bot is launched, I mean, like that's the game.
Yeah.
you guys, and
It was basically like that. So it did the initial conversation. It reached out. So I didn't actually touch it until the AI bot actually. So the AI bot's pretty cool. It's for a different Zoom. Not trying to sell you, but you'll get sold on this shit. It's pretty dope. So we got the foreclosure leads. And then we're trying out this AI bot that my partner Dustin put together. And the AI bot will either you can set it up and strategically structure it, but it could, however you set it up, could identify the goals for like its like position or whatever. And then ours was like, okay, find out if that's the homeowner, and then kind of like the motivation if they're open to selling. And then once the bot identifies that, it's gonna call my phone, and my phone is gonna tell me, hey, let's call this motherfucker Sam right now because we've identified Sam's the owner at 123 ABC. I'm like, did the phone just call me to tell me we're about to call somebody? And it's something like, and it was crazy. So we called in, and that's how I got in. I'm like, hello. And then I was able to go on my app and bring up the actual lead. And then from there, I transferred over to my laptop and continued talking. But since she was vulnerable and I'm pretty decent on the phones myself, I was able to identify that I can control the situation and then put this on paper. So I assumed the whole thing. I didn't really ask if there was something I could do. I was like, hey, this is what I can do. I've helped multiple homeowners in this position, but this is what we're going to need to do. And since we're in a time crunch, I'm just going to get everything ready for you, and I'll send it over and we'll call you back so then we can sign everything. And it was like, I got all the documents still on that. I just wasn't able to stop the auction in the morning. My fault.
it's still like, so, and again, like the human error, right? That's
Yeah.
awesome that the part that got messed wasn't part of human error, but in like in a vacuum, right? And when you've now fixed that, because now you guys understand, you've seen the problem happen and it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's so cool where this industry is trending, and this is what I'm all about. Is once this happens, you get the best data sets. Okay, so you're not spending a ton on skip tracing. By the way, just so you guys know, all their data comes tier 1 skip traced. So it's not crap skip tracing either. Usually the first 1 or 2 phone numbers are right 95% of the time, which is amazing because you're not hemorrhaging money on a dialer system or on phone numbers. Your connect rate, Dustin's here, he's been preaching about compliance and carriers cracking down. Like there's going to be a reckoning coming if you're not in compliance and you don't know how to get a hold of people the right way. One of the best ways to alleviate that is actually the best skip tracing. And if you guys didn't know, there's tiers 1 through 4. Tier 4 is the absolute garbage that most of the industry uses. And it's why you get 17 phone numbers back for a person. Half of them don't work. They never answer and you don't know why. But when you go tier 1, you're going to get a hold of the person more often than not. So you're saving money on a dialer. You're saving money on a phone number. You're not getting marked spam nearly as much. So you're going after a smaller data set, which means you don't need as many human workers on the team. And then now when the AI drops, the AI is going to be doing a lot of that follow-up for you. What's happening here is super cool because it is going to disrupt a lot of the coaches and gurus in this industry who tell you to go buy 75 different products, because now you'll have 3 products or 2 or 3 products that basically do everything for you. You can run a leaner team. And this is the dope thing. I love seeing this. People come on and they adopt this new methodology, right? Let's go get county data, whether it's on our own or from Syndicate. And then they go and get the best tools, like the highest quality tools. And they pretty much go against the grain of everything that you're taught in this industry. Did you guys know the average newbie, when they launch a cold call campaign, will spend between $2,500 to $3,000 a month? And if you guys didn't know, cold call has a cash conversion cycle of anywhere between 5, maybe 6 to 9 months. You have to sustain that spend, $2,500 to $3,000 per month for about 6 months before you start predictably getting results on it. That's $18,000, guys. It's a lot of money. But when they go and adopt this new methodology, which none of the influencers talk about because the influencers can't go and make a crap ton of affiliate on it, right? That's their big thing. None of this is high ticket. If you guys go look at Syndicate, it's extremely freaking cheap, including skip tracing. It's stupidly low. What ends up happening there? Your biggest influencer and guru can't upcharge it. It's not worth the time because they'd rather go to a more expensive product that puts more affiliate money in their pocket.
Yeah.
But guess what ends up happening? People go and adopt a new methodology. They become scientists with their spend, right? I said this in the beginning, marketing optimization. You spend half the money and get 3 times better results. It is kind of badass. Yeah, Simon, great question. Do you call DNC numbers regardless? I personally do. Now, that is a risk that my team is going to take, but we also very much honor a seller if they ever tell us to leave them alone. Now, if they tell you to leave them alone, mark them DNC, and we've never had an issue so far with that. Just be smart with it.
Quick
But
question.
just so you know, people who are in foreclosure and have an auction date in 15 days, if you know how to handle that phone call and you know how to be serious with them on the phone, take confident control of the situation, DNC is not their worry. They don't care about the spam calls. They care about the fact they're about to be homeless.
Hey, so is there a way that I can get in contact with vendor number one that goes directly to the county? Just because I'm looking here at Data Syndicate and the county that I'm in, they don't have it yet. So in the meantime, is there other vendors? Like, how can I get in touch with the vendors that would go to the counties that I'm targeting?
Syndicate's basically the only one. And if you have, which county is that?
It's several. Let's say Charlotte and surrounding markets.
Charlotte, North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's easy. Yeah, I was about to say, if you're in California, like it's a little bit more difficult. There's a button called research at the top of the website. So if you don't see your market or your county, go and hit that research button and then submit it. And like, I'm literally submitting crap all the time because I want more built out, and they'll go build it out. And they'll actually communicate with you on what it's going to take, what it's going to cost, and it'll always fall within their price points.
Oh, so I click on research, tell them, hey, this is the county I want.
Yeah, if you click on it, I think like a web form comes up, and then you just like fill it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then so there's a full-time research team that's like actively like 40 hours a week, just researching and building out more counties, like constantly. So yeah, if it's not there, just go hit that and they'll get back to you. Let me ask this question. What are your thoughts on BIN verified as a source for skip tracing? Is BIN verified like a public? Okay, this is what I'll say, because I feel like I remember the name, but I don't think that's like a legitimate like skip tracing service. I feel like that's a different. It's kind of like truepeoplesearch.com, if I remember correctly. What matters the most is to do. Oh, Jose, bro, just so you guys know, schedule a call. You can go and actually book a call through the website. You can book a call through the website and get on their Calendly, and then you can like talk directly to them, and they'll like actually gonna call with you and discuss everything that needs to happen. Yeah, awesome. So BIN verified. The problem, this is what I want you guys to look at with skip tracing, right? Tiers 1 through 4. Tier 1 is basically 90 to 95% minimum accuracy rate. Tier 2 is the 10% differential underneath that. Tier 3 underneath that. Tier 4 underneath that. Anytime you guys, just so you guys know, I'm in Cali and I've been requesting Cali for a long time. The entire state of California is launching within the next 2 weeks. So yeah, dude, SoCal is gonna blow up.
I'm in Palm Springs.
Dude, and there's gonna be so much data because like SoCal's huge.
Yeah, bro.
And so yeah, so guys, just so you guys know, you get grandfathered. Like I'm sure I really don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but you get grandfathered. So if you get into a county and the cost is $250 because it's a regular size county and they double their list size overnight, if they double their list size overnight and the price raises, it doesn't matter. You're grandfathered forever. And I just got an email from Dustin's team talking about how they're raising their prices, and everyone who's on his CRM is actually grandfathered forever too, which is actually dope as hell. So yeah, all of California is gonna be launched in the next 2 weeks because I'm in Central California and I want to buy more flips here. So I've been like looking for that competitive advantage here. But yeah, I've been requesting the build out for a long time. So back to skip tracing because this matters. Tier 1, right? Highest rated accuracy. The biggest differential between tier 1 and 2 is that it is licensed with all 3 credit bureaus. The 2 entities that have the most information about you in sales and entrepreneurship and everything, just in data points. Number 1 is law enforcement, whether it's federal or state law enforcement. And number 2, it's the credit bureaus. So every time you go and make a request, you know, and you go run your credit for a new credit card or a car or whatever the hell you do, there's a automatic update, and the credit bureaus have in the consumer world, law enforcement has the best in the government world, in the public service world, and then the credit bureaus have the most up-to-date information on you in the consumer world. So licensed by the credit bureaus is the best there is, and that's the core of tier 1. Tier 2 doesn't have that. That's why you get older data, you get older phone numbers, and you'll find someone that where it's like their old phone number, or it's a number. You can go look yourself up. Go look up Been Verified or TruePeopleSearch.com, and I can almost guarantee you it's going to have an old address or an old phone number or your sister's phone number or something else. But if you go and do tier 1, oh, it's going to have your phone number, it's going to have your email, it's going to have your dog's phone number, it's going to have everything. That's the power of tier 1. So I'm a massive advocate for get the best data, get the best skip tracing. When you do that stuff and then use a phenomenal system like Dustin CRM, then what happens is you're not leaking. There's no inefficiencies in your system. Everything is like super solid in the foundation. So when you scale, it scales in a very structured, efficient manner. If it's not
Sam, Brandy has her hand up if you want to take her question.
Oh my God. I am so sorry, Brandy. Hi.
Brandy, he didn't like you, I guess, you know, just totally skipped you.
If I wanted to be that person to go and collect the data from the court, what would be the steps? Like, what would you say?
You would have to go in literally, there is no SOP for it. Unfortunately, there's no standard operating procedure because every county is different, every court is different, every clerk is different, and there is no SOP anywhere. And there is no systemization to any of it. And because here's why. No one is incentivizing any of these governments, any of these jurisdictions to have a functioning, efficient bookkeeping system when it comes to who's in foreclosure or who's in eviction, right? They get no monetary return on it. So they don't have keepers of this stuff more often than not. Usually when you go to a county and you want to make a request for a probate list or an eviction list or something to that effect, most of the country, you have to go in person. You have to send a runner to file a request. You're going to wait a couple business days for them to review it and approve it. Some of them won't, even though they have to. Some of them won't. And if they do, honestly, this is what's really going to happen is they'll snail mail it to you. And then because counties up until now, guess what? You've took the worker away from their job, which cost the county money, right? And there's no return on their time. This is where it comes in because it's supposed to be the Freedom of Information Act. Here's the thing. They'll upcharge you on shipping and handling instead of just giving you the data right then and there. And then snail mail, wait a week, wait 2 weeks, get it. And then there you go. There's your 5 foreclosures that week.
Okay.
So
I'd do better by pulling it off of our sheriff's sales list.
yeah, so what I would recommend if you want to go build it out in-house, I think at the very least you go build it out in-house no matter what, right? At the very least go do that. You're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of money doing it that way. Like, and eventually you're going to have a team of virtual assistants getting involved and then you're going to manage them. But if you want to do it, you have to go and contact as many people as possible and literally research. So like when you send something to, you know, that research button, I think it's like research or request, research button, they have like literally a full-time team that goes and makes all these calls, builds these relationships and sees if it's even viable.
Okay, I did the research button for my area.
Or you could just be like Josh. Has this been flirting with the lady at the water department? I mean, that works. That's a really good way to do it. Carlos, want to maybe jump into a little bit of Q&A?
Yeah, let's roll into some Q&A, guys. So let's if you guys have some questions, you know, let's go ahead and put some hands up and we'll get on with the Q&A and then we'll wrap it up for the day so everybody can get their ass back to work.
Yeah. And guys, it doesn't have to be about data or anything like that too. I just want to make sure that we're showing everybody better ways to do this, better ways to do all of this. David, what's up, man? David, props to you on your beard, dog. That is bad.
Appreciate you, bro. That's the second, compliment I got today. Trying to be like Carlos over there, bro.
Yeah, you got a nice beard, brother.
I wanted to ask your thoughts. We were talking about, a lot of things that are recommended, but maybe not the best way to go. And I was curious to hear your thoughts on text messaging platforms. Specifically, I was about to get into launch control. And I kind of wanted to hear any thoughts on whether that would be just a jump off platform to get somebody on the phone, ideally, or any thoughts
I
on
would
text?
recommend, so here's the benefit of launch control. Launch control has a lot of built-in measures that will help with carrier compliance and you basically not getting sued, right? So last year in March of 2022, I spent $18,000 in that month just for texting. And my major platform I used was launch control. And as I scaled it, right, remember, you're paying about $1,000 per account, right? And you need to, and each account is limited. So if you want to send out, more than 10,000 texts a day to even hit your volume numbers, right? Because that is a bulk marketing, bulk texting platform. It's not a niche texting platform. You're going to hemorrhage a lot of money. And truth be told, it's massively overpriced for no reason. And I think as a business owner, you have to care about this one thing, guys. Just so you guys know, I've been to business school, and one of the holy grails of business is a thing called opportunity cost. What does it cost me to go do that here to get this result versus going somewhere else to do something exactly similar? I don't recommend launch control, and I got off that platform even though we spent 18 grand and we made over $100,000 that month. I think we made like 140 something that month off that 18 grand. It was more headache than it was worth. And then what I quickly found out is if you go more laser focused with the data sets that you target, you can spend a fraction of that and not have to have such a ridiculously broken tool. And to me, that tool at the time was very broken. I personally recommend that you don't really get into bulk texting. I think, David, dude, thank you for being here. Bulk texting, I think, is a great way for you to get spammed and for you to get your accounts red flagged and for you to burn through your wallet, because you're now getting burned. You have to go and probably start a new entity to restart a new account. Then you have a 2 to 3 week window where the account's getting set up. You're waiting for compliance to like green light you, all this kind of stuff, right? Guess what? You just lost a month of revenue. So my honest take is you go get a premier quality niche data set, right? And if you want to use texting, I personally actually use Dustin CRM. I'm like, he's here right now. Dustin and his little man are freaking beautiful. What's up, little dude? It's so good seeing him so happy, bro. Like, it's so good. We actually use his tool because his texting is not, you can do bulk texting on it, but it is actually prime for like high tier data. You can do like, and guess what? The AI is going to do the texting for you. So you're not setting up workflows and automations and all these millions of different templates and putting them in spinners, because the AI will start doing all of that for you. And because it's dynamic, it's not going to get picked up nearly as much as spam. I don't even see a reason to do it. And here's the other thing. Dustin, I mean, since you're here right now, bro, what's the cost on the text per text? It's like 0.0075 or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Points.
It's like the carriers are kind of adding in additional fees and stuff, but it doesn't really make too much difference. It's like 0.0075 or 0.007 or 0.085 or something. So it's under a penny per message. It doesn't add up much really at all.
I think the question to ask yourself is, if you're going to go use a tool like launch control, know that it is meant for bulk marketing. So to use it at its fullest capacity, you are going to go and get high volume data sets and have high burn rate. Do you want to play that game, or do you want to go more of a sniper route? And I'm telling you right now, Dustin's played the bulk game. Carlos has. I played it at a high level and I got consistent 6-figure months on it. And then what we did is now we went sniper and we're super laser focused now. We are targeting 1/5 the data set. Our team is very, very, very lean. Jordan's knows what my team looks like, our structure. It is a very lean team, and we're consistently hitting 6-figure months, doing the exact opposite, and we're not having compliance issues or anything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would definitely love to learn about Dustin's platform, especially because checking out different things like that, and 100% very interested in seeing that.
Yeah, Dustin, if you're here, bro, can you like drop a quick link to your CRM? Awesome. Any other questions, bro?
Now, bro, appreciate you. Heard great things about you through Marlon, and appreciate you being
Marlon's
here,
my
man.
boy.
Yeah, bro, I just finished a 12-week coaching thing with him, and it was killer. And yeah, bro, had none great things to say about you too. So happy to be
Dude.
here, bro. Appreciate you.
That's amazing, bro. You better be there. Me and the Marlon are going live an hour and a half for our Think Big podcast that we do every Tuesday.
Think
So,
big, let's go.
Dude, good to meet you, man.
Good to meet
Okay. Raymond, what's going on, bro?
I'm hemorrhaging money.
Wait,
I need Dustin's CRM. I've been trying to get in front of Dustin on the AI platform. Who's using it?
Raymond, you are lagging and you sound like T-Pain in 2009 right now, bro.
Any better?
That's a little bit better. Dude, Dustin just dropped the link to the CRM in the chat. We lost him. He's gone, guys. He is officially in the matrix.
I'm getting back to work.
Okay. Yeah, the link's right there in the chat, bro. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask?
I'm in that.
Fantastic, guys. Any other questions? And it doesn't have to be about data. It doesn't have to be about the CRM. Yeah, let me know if you guys have anything else, because this is the time that I have. Otherwise, I am peacing out. Yeah, Jen's right. Jen is absolutely right. Jen the Closer. That's a badass name. Jen the Closer. I dig that.
Love Jen. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Awesome. Carlos, your show, man.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Sam. And everybody who doesn't know Sam, I know now you know him. And Sam, what's the best way to, follow you on social media, get a hold of you, not only, to talk more about opportunity and leads, but, for future business leads and JV opportunities with other things.
Epic. So yeah, 100%, guys. The number one way to get a hold of me is on Instagram. If you text me, I'm sorry, I've got 500 plus unread text messages. You'll never get a hold of me. I swear. And it's not because I don't love you all. I do. It's just the worst way. Go and shoot me a message on Instagram. Because that way, even for you, psychopathic Android users, if you message me on Instagram, I can at least give you an audio message back. Hit me up on Instagram. My username's right here on my name. It's at @ArchSamSingh. And what I want you guys to do, if you go there, okay, is one, shoot me a DM. Let me know that you're coming here from the Powerhouse, because I love finding out where my friends are coming from. Dude, thank you so much. There you go. There's the YouTube and there's the Instagram. Wow, dude, I appreciate you for that. Let me know that you're coming from the Powerhouse. And then what I'll do is I'll give you guys some dope stuff I was given to people. And then two, just so you guys know, Dustin knows this about me. Carlos knows this about me. I kind of do these stupid things where I go and do these gigantic master classes, right? That are usually 5 to 6 hours long. Someone asked earlier, how do I market? How do I get the numbers I do? How do you do 6-figure months and spend pennies? Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do the next masterclass is going to be called Marketing Secrets. It's probably going to be about 6 hours straight. And it is literally going to be every marketing method there is, breaking it down at an extremely high level, and then giving you a game plan on literally how to scale it to a 6-figure month, to every single KPI. You're going to find that out about that on Instagram only, because that's where I market my stuff. And then if anyone's curious on data, what I'll probably do is for anyone, oh, I love this. Anyone here, I'm only doing it for you guys. I don't tell anyone else, because then knuckleheads get in. If you go and get data, thanks to Powerhouse, let me know. I'll do a private Zoom with everyone, and I'll show you how I personally market to the data, because we do some super ninja stuff. And then can I take one more second, Carlos? I want to actually let people know. Jonathan, in 2 weeks, all of California is going to roll. Yeah, in 2 weeks, bro.
How do I get
you
on?
and I are going to go ham when California rolls out, dog.
What's up?
Okay.
How do I get on that VIP list, brother?
Dude, you just have to take me out to dinner again. And that's it, bro. That's all you got to
You
do.
already know I got you, brother. I'll drive to Fresno tonight.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Okay. I'm so sorry to derail, bro. Me and Richard Knowles are throwing another event in SoCal next month. We're going to Universal Studios the next day. You need to be there. Okay. Last thing, guys, I think this is cool because I actually believe this actually shows the power of like what you can do with top tier data. A buddy of mine, I'm not supposed to name his name because he doesn't want me to tell you who he is. His name is Jacques Barima. I didn't tell you that. Jacques has come on with Syndicate for 4 weeks, and it's wild. He's been on for 4 weeks targeting a couple counties, and he just got $125,000 assignment.
Oh shit.
Now, here's the insane thing, because this is some super high level game. We're going to talk about this when we do what I'll do is this for everyone that comes on and gets the data and then shoots me DMs and lets me know. I'll do a private masterclass for you guys to show you how to do all this ninja stuff. But I'll give you a little synopsis. You got a data syndicate list, was 4 weeks in on tax liens. What do you guys know about liens? There's a magic secret sauce to liens.
That's what I kind of wanted to ask you right now.
Maybe negotiated,
That data?
not on the hood, not on the mortgage. You can negotiate them and get them on
Okay.
pennies on the dollar, because if they're in foreclosure, I'm working 2 of them right now that we're working. I've negotiated 2 and lost to them, and I'm currently putting some stuff together on the property that we locked up, the one I was talking about through your data. We're actually going in tomorrow to negotiate the HOA lien and see if we can get some of the other additional liens off that are not attached to the mortgage.
Easy.
So the reality is, in foreclosure, they're going to lose. So everybody's going to lose. So instead of saying, hey, can I get a discount? You can say words like recapitalize or restructure. You know, we're in an issue. So is there a way that we can possibly buy that lien at a reduced price? Most likely they'll work with you, you know, and so like they're a big opportunity if you understand that as well.
Yep. So it's actually something that Michael, shout out to Michael, is a good dude. He just said this, they can fall off. Liens have this thing called a statute of limitations. And a statute of limitations means that after a certain amount of time, without any measurable amount of movement or renewal, they legally have to fall off. So I'm going to save this, but for everyone who does it and hits and shoots me a DM, we'll do a private masterclass. What I'll do is, even though he hates being on social media and on camera, what I'm going to do is he doesn't even know that I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to force Jacques to come in and walk through not only how he and I both, like how we market to the data, but how he took a list, spent, I think like a couple $100 on the list, right, for 1 month. And then not only got $125,000 assignment fee, but that property he's actually going to now then flip after that $125K assignment fee and make another 250 grand on the flip. And it's because he targeted the right data set and he knew how to handle it. Guys, spend pennies and go get 6-figure months. Like at the very least, whether you get it on your own or from Syndicate or wherever the hell else, it doesn't matter. You guys know a better way of doing things. Go spend pennies and go make a 6-figure month and change your family's lives and go do something epic. All right, I'm going to shut up now. I appreciate you guys for giving me the spotlight. It's been a great time. Dude, Carlos, I appreciate you, man, truly.
Appreciate you so much, Sam. Thank you guys, and everybody else. Thank you. If you're on the West Coast, get your ass back to work. If you're on the East Coast, you know, see what you can do to make some money, homie. I'll see everybody next time. Okay. Till next time.
We'll see represent. See you guys. Appreciate you guys.